Shalom, this is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Swing Good Torah. All right, Bezrat Hashem, I think the Baltimore Ravens are about to have the greatest comeback in NFL history, make it all the way to winning the Super Bowl after their 1-5 start. Crazy, right? All right, so if you love the NFL and football, you're going to like this. If you're just here for the Torah, just please stick with me for a little bit. This is going somewhere, okay? And the Jewish people are going to have the greatest comeback in world history. All right, so let me just build the mushel. Let me build the analogy first, and we're going to see something beautiful about world history, Jewish history, and just how Hashem runs the world. All right, let me start with the Ravens. All right, I'm from Baltimore. My family's been here a long time. I love the Ravens. They got off this horrible 1-5 start. I think Lamar Jackson is one of the most talented quarterbacks in NFL history. And what's interesting is the Ravens, they used to be another team. The Ravens used to be the Baltimore Colts. And the Baltimore Colts were one of the greatest teams in NFL history. And the NFL, this was before even the Super Bowl era. Supposedly one of the greatest games, before my time. One of the greatest games, had one of the biggest TV audiences, was the great Johnny Unitas, his comeback over, I think, the New York Giants. It had some incredible game. I don't know if I even watched it. And what's interesting is Lamar Jackson and Johnny Unitas, I think they both went, I may get the school wrong, I think they both went to Oklahoma, and I think they were the only two players who has their jersey retired. So you have this amazing team, right? You have Lamar Jackson, you have these amazing wide receivers. You got, you got Bateman, you got Flowers. I think they even have DeAndre Hopkins now. It's crazy. And you have the great Mark Andrews, the tight end, and then you even have Likely, and you have Derrick Henry, King Henry, the running back, and amazing other. There's just so much talent on the team, and the defense is just fearsome. You got Hamilton and Roshan. I mean, just so much going on. I'm blanking on everyone's name. The great Ronnie Stanley, so much. And I just think this team has so much talent. I think Hashem's going to show us something incredible, and Lamar is going to win his first Super Bowl. All right, so why? Why am I talking about football? It's Sunday, but why am I talking about football? Because I think it's a great analogy for the Jewish people. The Jewish people are about to have one of the greatest comebacks in world history that the world's ever seen. And we can learn a lot by some of the work and the ethics, the work ethic that people put into football, the effort they put into sports. And we're going to see why it's so important. And we need to put this into our avoda. And we're going to see how it's so important. Okay, so the world is founded on three main pillars, right? Three main pillars. So the pillar of Torah, learning Torah, doing the mitzvahs, that's like one of the pillars of the world. The Torah is the blueprint of all creation. And then there's the Gemilas Chasadim, right? There's acts of kindness, which is crucial. And then there's the avoda. So it's actually the offerings in the temple. And now we don't have the Beis HaMikdash. So we have, for the avoda, we have tefillah, we have prayer. Okay, so let's see how this all comes into play and what we can do. All right, so what happens is, after the world was destroyed in the Mabul, in the flood, Noah, he had three sons. So these three sons uphold the pillars of the world. So first we have Shem, and Shem represents Torah. And we see that Shem and then his great-grandson Aver, they start one of the first yeshivas in the world, the yeshiva Shem and Aver. And then we have Yafes. Now, Shem, his descendants are going to be the Asian nations, and then the Jewish people come out of Shem. And then you're going to see also like the sons of Asa, we're going to talk about soon. They create the Roman Empire, Edom, and they create the religion of Christianity. And then you see Ishmael, and his descendants become the Arab nations and Islam. So these are major players on the world stage, all out of Shem. The next son, Yafes, the beauty of Yafes, the beauty of ancient Greece, and that's the European nations. And Yafes represents Gemilas Chasadim, right? Kindness. Because when Shem needed help covering up his father Noah, Yafes was right there to help. And you see a lot of kindness and generosity. The tourists, if you're traveling or living in Europe, I know there's been some bad times in Europe, but they're, the Europeans can be friendly in their better days. And there's a lot of kindness and Gemilas Chasadim in Europe. Okay, and then Ham, who founds the African nations, and he is a Voda. So this seems like really strange. Why, the African nations are not known right now for their Avodas Hashem. I mean, maybe Baruch Hashem, like the Ethiopian Jews, they're elevating the Torah and they're coming from Africa. But most of the African nations, they're not really known. So what's the secret? What's the secret of why Ham is why does he represent, avoda and nowadays like prayer? So the answer is chamimus leavoda. So chamimus is Ham's special quality, that he's passionate, he gets heated, he is energetic, and I'll talk about Lamar soon. But it's like that's why you've seen the children of Ham, they've excelled in sports because they put their all into it. They put talent into it. They play it in a way that no one's ever played it before, and they're passionate about it. And the arts, I mean, the great blues musicians and jazz, and now it's like hip hop. They've done amazing things in music because it's all feeling and passion, and that's what we need. We need to dump that chamimos into our tefillah. We need to daven with passion and with energy, and that's what's gonna bring the Jewish people to the greatest comeback. Okay, so everyone is counting us out. Everyone says they replaced us. And just like it's interesting, just like the transition of the Baltimore Colts to the Baltimore Ravens, there's so many people, like the Jewish people, they don't even think like we're, the same, people, our ancestors were, right? It's like, no, you're not the sons of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. You're not the sons of Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebecca, Jacob, Rachel and Leah. They don't even think, they're Abos and Yamakos, and they're all claiming that they replaced us, right? It's like you got all these crazy groups. Everyone's replaced us. You got, the Roman Empire, Christianity, and like they're saying, oh, the Jews are cursed. We replaced them. We replaced them. Then you have the sons of Ishmael. The Arab nations, Islam. No, we replaced them. You have crazy groups like the Black Hebrew Israelites, and probably even the Scientologists somewhere have some kind of anti-Semitic thing. It's just crazy. They've all replaced us. No one thinks like we're the real deal. No one thinks, but it says it's amazing. There's 3 qualities how you can know that someone is a son of Abraham and Sarah. If someone's bashful, right? You feel a Jew, he feels embarrassed when he when he makes a mistake. When we do chas v'shalom avera, we do teshuva, we feel embarrassed like to act bad if we say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. The Jews always like, I'm sorry, I'm apologizing. Yeah, it's such a trait of the Jewish people. Kindness. You will never meet a more kinder people, more generous people with tzedakah and charity. Forget all the haters with all these lies. They call us stingy and cheap and this and greed. You'll never meet more. I mean, if you look at the percentages of Jewish people that give to every cause, and that may be a little silly. Hopefully we start pouring the money again into the yeshivas and, the Torah. But you'll never find a more generous or kind, people than the Jewish people. And then just like a simcha of life, just the happiness of life. And these are some of the traits, and that someone is a descendant of Abraham and Sarah. We're you see who's the real deal, and you see who's the fakers, who's the players, right? Who's the sucker MCs. But we are going to they've all counted us out. They're all replacing us. They're all now the chosen people. They're counting us out, but we're about to see the greatest comeback in world history. And we are so close. We are heading in. We are in the ikvos to Mashiach, the footsteps of Mashiach right now. We are so close to heading in to the Chavlei Mashiach, the birth pangs of Mashiach. And it's going to be sooner than anyone thinks that we're going to see a Melech, a king again in Israel. We're going to see a Sanhedrin again. It's so close. The world has no idea. So then the Jewish people, how do we start with these 3 great pillars of what we need to have the greatest comeback in world history? So Abraham, he's Gemilas Chassidim. He starts it all off. So we change the order around a little bit. We start with Chesed. Like Hashem created the world, everything begins with Chesed. Chesed, like Hashem builds the world with Chesed, with kindness. And Abraham and Sarah, they open up their tents on 4 sides. They invite the world in. You would see the Jewish home, come on in, have a nash. That's the children of Abraham and Sarah. He runs out to bring tongue sandwiches to these 3 Arabs. They're really malachim, they're really angels. A good deli sandwich. It started right there with Abraham and Sarah. Come on. Jewish deli, it started right at the beginning. Come on, who's kidding who with all this? And then Yitzhak's the avoda. He has such strength, gavura, self-control, that he was willing at 37 years of age to offer himself as a korban, an offering to Hashem. And self-control, strength, this is one of the key things, and we need this. But also Yitzhak, he will laugh. It's laughter. People think that when you have discipline, when you have self-control, you're serious and grumpy. Like Dean Warmer and like Animal House. No, it's like the people that have the greatest self-control, the greatest gavura. They're the funniest. They have the greatest laughter. It's the Jewish comedians, the laughter of the Jewish people. These are the traits, right? So we also have to put that Simchas Torah, that we have to daven and to feel it, that we say the Tehillim with joy. And that's another great factor. We have to put the simcha, the happiness, into praising Hashem, and that's going to bring us the greatest comeback in world history. And then finally, Yaakov, he sits at the Ish Tam. He sits in the tents. He's sitting in the yeshiva. He's learning. We are renowned. Like, you will never hear. The anti-Semites will accuse us of being too rich, too poor. We control the world. We're filthy parasites. But you will never hear them say one thing. You never hear the anti-Semites say that the Jews are stupid, because we are renowned for 4,000 years of learning. And even Chas v'Shalom, when we got we got sucked into the secular, liberal world, you still see the Jews excel. The Ivy League schools, they're going to Harvard, they're going to Yale, they're going to Stanford, they're going to University of Pennsylvania. So even when we're not learning Torah, when we pour our great learning, our intellect into the Torah. Now we're talking. Now we're going to start to elevate the world. Now we're going to bring the Kedusha, the holiness, into the physical world. We're going to bring the Ruchnius, the spiritual, and we're going to elevate the physical world by the spiritual. Okay, so I really think, the Ravens, they're playing the Browns. I think maybe they were going up against Joe Flacco, our old quarterback today, and I really think we're about to see something special with the Ravens this year, and they're going to win their first Super Bowl. But I know for sure, this is a sure thing. This is a sure bet. Bet on the Jewish people, because we are about to have the greatest comeback in world history. We are the greatest underdogs. Come on. The story of David and Goliath, that's in the Torah, baby. That's David HaMelech. It's King David, Mashiach ben David. We invented the idea of the underdog. We are the underdog. Come on. But we're heading into Parshat Toldos. Yaakov against Esav. The little skinny yeshiva bucker against his really tough jock brother with the beard. And he's a hunter, and he's great, tricks people with his speech. So we're taking it all down. I love that line. I think it's from Empire Strike Back. I feel like I could take on the whole empire today. We're going to do it. The Jewish people are about to have their greatest comeback. We're going to see the days of Mashiach. And we got to do these three fundamental things. Gemilas Chasadim, we start with kindness. Go out there, just do kind things. Tzedakah, just smile, just light up people's lives with kindness. Change your life, change the world with kindness. And then the Avodah, Tefillah, we're going to get it all back. Doing the Shema, the Kriya Shema, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. We'll do it 3 times a day. The Shemona Esrei, 3 times a day. The davening, we're going to get back. The Jews are going to head back in the shuls. It's happening, and the excitement is growing. And then the Torah, the Holy Torah. That's what really makes us the Am Kadosh, the holy nation, the Torah Kodesh. And we're going to learn again. We're going to learn about the 613 mitzvahs. The Jews are coming back, baby. It's the 4th quarter. We're in the red zone. We're pushing it through the touchdown. It's going to be amazing. I hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah. And go Ravens, and Am Yisrael Chai.